You know, you say in the book that when David killed Goliath, that was easier than David actually embracing his kingship over Israel. Unpack that for us.
Okay, now this is the point. Really, if you can understand this point, you understand the whole shift between identity and faith. David had faith that he could kill Goliath. He had already killed a lion and a bear. So actually, and I'm going to speak this, his faith was based on past victories. So he was used to fighting things bigger than him, trusting God. So that he had literally in his faith. But after defeating Goliath, he goes to King Saul, holding the head of Goliath. And what does King Saul say to him? Part of the reward is you get my daughter in marriage, not Michal, Merab. And as David is standing there in his, if you want to call it stinky shepherd clothes, before King Saul, who stood head and shoulders above him with his robes flowing down. And King Saul said, I'm going to give you my daughter's hand, Merab, in marriage. And he said, well, who am I and who's my family? This guy that had enough faith to kill Goliath is actually in an identity debacle. He doesn't see himself as worthy to marry the king's daughter. And God needs him to marry a king's daughter, so he's seen as a king. And so God's looking down at David with the oil on his head. And he said, if you're going to put his robes in height above the oil on my head, I'm going to let him chase you till you agree with me. David was much of the problem, as was King Saul, because David would not receive the reward that his faith had accomplished. Do you know your faith can get you a victory that your identity cannot maintain and possess? And so that's the problem. The identity means I walk in the reward of my victories.